and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary.
You are listening to
Kayak Adventure Series.
Kayak Adventure Series. This is where you choose your own adventure. You want to be offshore? You want to be shallow? You want to go up the
You
creek?
want to have a kayak that is sophisticated?
Or a kayak that is simple?
You get to choose your own adventure.
Oh, looky there. That's a microbacker. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild. Hey, this adventure is going to be amazing. All right, everyone. It's Billy Kayaks and Drew Gregory, and we do have a special guest today, but Jake is not one of them. Jake is on the road.
No.
Right?
Yeah, he's selfishly fishing today. I mean, how dare he?
That's right.
He's actually pre-fishing for Guntersville. Hopefully he made it there. He was leaving yesterday, and I will be leaving late tonight, but I did not leave today because it's my son's 6th birthday. So we had a little birthday celebration for him this past weekend, and then today it's his actual birthday. So obviously wanted to be here on that day and got him a cool little pancake breakfast and everything special, man. All the presents down here this morning. He opened up some. He'll open up more later. We were mystery readers at his school, at his school. So went in there and surprised them. And they're probably eating cupcakes, getting all crazy right now. So after we left, so
what did you read? Mystery reader. What was the book?
It was a book called. So my wife read it today, and it was it's this magical dandelion book. I can't remember the name of it. It's the magical dandelion or something where you blow on it and make a wish, and it's real interactive with the kids. It was cool. It's just, all the kids in the class are blowing, and it's doing all the stuff the book told them to do, to making the wishes with the dandelion. So yeah, it was cool. Really cool book.
Yeah, that is cool.
Anyway,
it was fun. Only turned 6 months. So
that's right. That's right. And I didn't, dude, I just want to say I was so close to canceling our live today, but man, I'm because I have to pack up. Got his birthday. I've been slammed, still recovering and recapping from Shoaliepalooza, but I'm a big believer in being consistent. You know what I mean? Like 11 a.m. Wednesdays, we're doing it. And I don't have to be on here every time. You know what I mean? Obviously, you and Billy and you and a guest or you, we could, do that. But I'm trying to make sure we're as consistent as possible because I think that's what helps build brands and it builds events like this. Let's stay consistent. So I want to come on. I don't know if we'll go 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, who knows, but definitely got to get back to packing so I can get out of here right when he goes to bed tonight. I'm going to try to get on the road and I'm not going to have much pre-fishing. Let's face it. I'm probably not going to get there till midday at best on Thursday, then unload, unpack. I mean, maybe drive around and get on the water that afternoon, get, one day on Friday, and then let the chips fall where they may for that Bassmaster Kayak Series on Guntersville.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on here. Like you said, the Shoaliepalooza is already a couple weeks behind us, which means we're getting that much closer to the Wild Whitehall and the Ozarkana.
That's right.
Wild Whitehall coming up June 7th and 8th, and then July 12th and 13th is Ozarkana. So those are going to be here before we know it anyway. So
oh yeah, they're coming up fast, man. They are coming up fast. And whenever you're ready, you let me know. I'll go some news and notes, and then we'll get into previewing those and get our special guest on. But I know you had some other stuff you were going to share with us, I think, right?
Yeah. Before we do news and notes, I just want to remind everyone that we do have the Discord channel, and we want everyone to join that.
Communicate there. Post in the garage sale group. Let people know what you're bringing to Wild Whitehall, to Michigan, that has value that you would never sell for more than $5 in an actual garage sale. Bring it to a place where there are anglers there that actually know the value and get $100 for it. You know what I mean? So that's our Discord group. That'll help you guys get community going in that chat there, in that group. If you've never been on Discord, you don't know what you're missing out. It's so much better than Facebook groups for things like this, communities. So
yeah, and if you have multiple groups on Discord, they line up on the column, and you can toggle between different groups.
Exactly.
It's so easy. You can tell which group has a new post or whatever. You can set your notifications however you want it. So join that. If for some reason this link doesn't work, obviously let us know. That should not expire, so it should be good. And then there's
a desktop app too. Don't forget Discord. The other thing is cool. It's not just on your phone. There's a desktop app so they work seamlessly no matter what you're on.
Yeah, and you don't have to download anything on desktop. It's like an online desktop app. It's good. So yeah, good point.
Yeah.
And then the other one is a way to get involved. So we have this viewer voicemail, and I don't know. I'm just going to be honest, Drew. Not a lot of people are calling in to use the viewer. I thought this was going to be a hit, and I think it still has a chance to be a hit. But if you want to get involved in the show, you want your voice to be heard, you have a question, you have a suggestion, or you just want to add some shenanigans to the show, call that number, leave us a message. It goes, I actually have the app on my phone. It goes right to my phone. I'll get the message right away, and I'll share it out with Drew and Jake, and we'll have a good laugh or answer your question. So 513.
Just say something positive about, Shoaliepalooza. If you were there and you had a good time, let us know about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. All right, man. And then
what's up, Mark?
Yeah, let's move on to
some news and notes here. I got a list of stuff I can read off whenever you're ready. All right, so speaking of Shoaliepalooza, man, you know what happened, guys? I'll tell you what happened. As soon as we got home or left there on Sunday, on Monday, there was a package that was supposed to arrive. It was sent the prior Monday of tournament week, pre-fishing Monday, right? It was shipped one day, $50. Ship it one day. And you guys would have loved to have had these. And they showed up on Monday. A week later, after paying $50 to get them shipped one day, your KAS, some of your KAS hats showed up. So I'm sorry, but you'll get them in Michigan, or we'll have them eventually for sale on the website. This is the regular style Richardson, just the old school classic, classic style. So anyway, guys, some cool styles of hats for the Kayak Adventure series.
Now, do we buy those, or are those in the bag?
You buy those. Yeah, you got to buy those. But I think we'll still give a river bassin hat away at the next in the bag at the next one. But those will be for sale. I'm not sure how much they're going to cost yet. We'll figure it out. I forgot. I don't know if it's probably the same as the river bassin hats were. But yeah, guys, that's exciting. Having those here finally. It's a bummer they didn't show up on time. But speaking of which, if you did last call on this, if you did by chance buy a hat or shirt at the park at the opening ceremonies and we didn't have cell signal, we wrote your name down and you were supposed to pay us when you got signal. If you've forgotten to do that, please do that. We have a list here somewhere, but I don't even know if we're going to get around to going back and calling all the people. Hey, did you pay? Just go pay for it, guys. Obviously that costs us money. And I know you bought it or wanted to buy it. You didn't have signal to support KAS. So yeah, just go in there and do that. No worries on if it hasn't been done yet, but just want to remind you guys about that. Plus the Bash U Brunch. If you did show up at the Bash U Brunch, you can click on that link on the Shoaliepalooza page and still donate to that as well if you've forgotten or haven't had a chance to do that. So another thing here, guys, the Shoaliepalooza recap videos are, and if you want to pull up YouTube or Alex Rudd or John Dalton or whoever, Aaron's Outdoors, they're all up, guys. I mean, all the recap videos are up. RJM, his is up. Who else is up? There's a lot of good. Jeff Little's is up. Jeff Little's is a whole hour long. So all of the YouTube video recaps from Shoaliepalooza, they're starting to hit now. They're all starting to come in, which is really cool. I got to watch some of them, and we need to make some social posts to promote those, but they are awesome. And I mean, I get chills watching them, dude. I get chills because it's so cool to see what was in this head coming, to reality. Like, I cannot wait to see somebody wade fishing, with tethered to their kayak, wade fishing, because it just makes the most sense to fish that style where they're at that time. And that's why I got a kayak, so I can get to those places. And if I feel like getting out and wading, I can wade. And again, this is just what we wanted to be different about our series. It's the best, given so many rivers and creeks are in bounds. We wanted to give the best, methods of fishing rivers and creeks, make it be legal. So it's cool to see people doing that, and then people in their kayaks, and then people using, there's not a lot of people obviously at that event that run lakes, but there will be lakes and electronics. So it's going to be, Kyle Hancock's over here saying just who won the no limit with a paddle and no electronics. Who won that? Was that this past weekend? Did you win this, Kyle? I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want to know, Kyle. You reply there. If you're trying to shout yourself out, dude, we'll do it. We'll shout you out if you won that thing. But it was just cool, man. Seeing all those videos, all the anglers out there fishing and catching fish. Russ Snyder's had a really cool reel. Did you see Russ's reel? It was really good, like really well done on Instagram. So that's been exciting to see. The other thing in my news and notes about Shoaliepalooza, to kind of one last recap, is send in the footage, guys. Go to the website, click on media or for anglers. There's a part that says upload footage. All you got to do, we don't need some big, long edited video. I'm talking like if everyone out there just uploaded trimmed it to the minute or the 30 seconds or whatever it is of your biggest or best fish catch, most exciting, maybe 2. Send us 1 or 2. But if you just send us 1 or some, obviously you can send 4 or 5 cool things that happen, whether you got somebody flipping over or you flipped over or a deer swam across the river, whatever cool stuff you guys have, just send it to that, upload footage. It's easy because we are going to have an edit that will air later in the year about, okay. Oh, my wife's giving me an update, possibly how much money we've raised for the Pump Foundation. So what's that? I don't know what you're saying.
We do need that. We need that video though. Someone upload the video of Ramon flipping.
Oh, we have a video of Ramon flipping.
Oh,
we do.
Okay,
we do have that. Robert Weicker sent it to me. I actually have seen it, so I need to show it to my wife. It's funny. The father-in-law flips over and just keeps the cigar going. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, and listen, if I'm gonna submit my my 15 3/4. So if I'm gonna submit mine, you guys have to submit yours.
Submit it, guys. We need that footage out. There's no rush on this, but there is kind of a rush. We need to get it all together so we can have a really cool edit. And these edits that we do will be airing much, much later in the year. We kind of want to get them all done so that over the winter they all pop up at one time and you can binge them all on our edit. But we want everyone to be a part of it if you want to be a part of it. So hopefully you filmed yourself catching something cool. I mean, you got Ethan had a really cool fish catch and he's like screaming, going nuts. I know Latrell and Eric and I mean everybody had there's a lot of good footage out there. We know you got it, guys. We know you have it. Submit it. That's how this thing works. Some angler participation.
That's right.
The other thing I was going to say is I'm excited for Aaron's Outdoors. He's been on, Aaron Griffith has been on multiple podcasts, many podcasts, going over his win. So that's really cool that some of the other mainstream kayak fishing media are picking up, what's going on over here. It's our first event. We didn't know if they would care who won a Kayak Adventure Series event, but they are, and that's cool to see. Yeah. So there's a lot of, again, this isn't some high elite series of kayak fishing. And now obviously we have some anglers that do fish these, but it's meant to be this more laid back, this fun thing. But at the same time, if you do have sponsors and you're trying to grow and learn tournaments, and then there is some good, like value in these bigger media, they're following this thing and covering you guys. And of course, bringing you on to their podcast. So there's some value for sponsors, or if you're trying to build that brand in fishing the Kayak Adventure Series, and obviously winning or doing well where they have you on. So that's pretty cool to see. And then
wait, what do you mean? You mean 102 inches of shoal bass?
Yeah.
Like the attention of other.
Attention.
Yeah.
Apparently that's all it takes. You just got to go do that. It's like one day, dude, I won the Bassmaster Championship. Yeah, obviously the trophy here. And I screenshotted on my Instagram. I should post it. It's so funny. I did it. I looked at my Instagram and it says priority. And it says, there's a blue check mark and it says, Mark Zona is now following you. And I said, oh, so all it takes is winning a Hobie AOI, 9 or 10 national tournament wins, a Bassmaster AOI, and then a Bassmaster Championship. And finally, Zona will follow you. That's all you got to do, guys. That's it. Just do all that. And then, Mark Zona will follow you. So that was cool though. But anyway, I digress. I think we're pretty much, the last thing I was going to say, which kind of leads into Michigan on a couple of rules things. You guys did a good job at mouth closed. I talked to Amanda at this event, but there's still some people that don't fully understand. And we'll keep repeating this because we don't want to see people get deducted. Smash the fish against the bump board hard as you can, hold them down where their mouth is so close. You know what I mean? You don't even understand how close it's got to be to count, and then take your picture. Now, after that, if you want to take some other pictures and try to pinch their tail, cool, but always have that safety, because if you submit one with the mouth slightly cracked, you can replace it with the one that you took that was your safety with the mouth really, really closed. I mean, it's got to be jammed just so close, you don't understand. Some people still don't understand because when you zoom in real tight, you'll see it's barely cracked. And that's just because every sport needs a standard. You know what I mean? Like you can't tee off just ahead of the two, tee blocks on the golf course. It doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3 inches ahead. That's only 2 or 3 inches, but that matters. That could affect what happens later on and where your ball lands. So close is closed, guys. The other thing is some people were, possibly confused. Hopefully they won't be. A legal access is different than a public access. You might legally have access to some private boat ramp in somewhere, right? And you're accessing legally, but the public, the whole Kayak Adventure Series anglers cannot access it. So therefore it is not a legal access for the tournament, even though it may be legal to you on a regular Saturday. So, let's,
those are good.
I think they're good. The last thing I was going to do real quick, I always say last thing and it's never the last thing, is just show off. Cause I know, our guests will appreciate this too. I do want to show off a couple, photos here from Josh Shrinko from Smalley Talk this is from the Wisconsin River. So this is kind of like way in the future. So people from Michigan and Ozarkana and wherever you're at, you fish Shoaliepalooza, Kentucky, get ready.
Let's bring in Tim, and then Tim can also, comment on these too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Come on in, Tim. Yeah, I'll bring you in. So,
all right. Oh, now I missed your fish.
Well, I'll put it back on there. Tim, I'm going to cover you up with this big fish, but I think you're going to understand.
Yeah, the 2022.
I mean, look at these fish.
AOI and champion. All right, Tim D. Smith. I just want to comment on these fish. Yeah.
So, wow. Some giants. Figured you guys would like a little fish candy before we start with Tim, who's been known to catch a big green and brown one here or there. So, like you said, Billy, former Michigan State champ, runs tournaments on the Lakeshore Series for the Michigan Kayak Trail. Is that correct? Or is that
I run series? Topwater for the Lakeshore.
Lakeshore, Topwater. Yep. Yeah, because Topwater has a joint event with us too. By the way, Topwater guys, if you're listening, send us the link we need to get people linked to your registration pages. I think we just...
it's at topwaterseries.com.
I can link straight to topwaterseries.com. That may be where it's linked now, but I just didn't know if there was like Tourney X has a page for that tournament. You know what I mean? But I didn't know if you guys have one on topwaterseries.com, like that's just / whatever, like this exact tournament. I'd like to link people straight because it's a button on our website that says register. And when they click it, I want to get them right to the page to register. So if you want us to send them somewhere different, then please, by all means, send us that link. And we'll try to get some people on the joint event that you guys are having with us for the Wild Whitehall, which I believe is just Friday. That's very unique, isn't it?
Yep, Friday night. Yep.
That kind of leads into what the Topwater Series is, again, if you want to remind people what that is, because isn't it kind of just an afternoon a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of like your golf league. Just a boat tournament league where you go out and fish for 3 hours on a regular weeknight, and you all take off from the same launch. We all come back at the same time. We go over standings right there. It's a lot of fun. Usually we hang out and chit chat for an hour or so after the tournament.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm going to check now. It says when I click register, it goes to, we'll find out if it goes anywhere. It might not go anywhere right now. The button is, So we'll send it to topwaterseries.com for the meantime. And then if you guys get a different link, send it on over. But that's cool, man, having that. So I think it's unique because, there are some trails who, when they do a joint event with us, which I believe the Michigan Kayak Trail, I'll have to double check. It might just be just Saturday, or it might be Friday and Saturday, but it might just be Saturday because that's how it's just Saturday. Okay. That's how it was. The Peach State Kayak Anglers at Shoaliepalooza was just Saturday. So it's kind of cool that somebody who just wants to go on Friday because they got something going on Saturday could still be a part of this whole thing if they wanted to be and fish that Topwater Series. And if they wanted to join ours and just try to get lucky with half a day on Friday or whatever alone and win if they can't make Saturday. But hopefully you can. Most people can probably make Saturday, of course. But I'm excited about Michigan, man. The Wild Whitehall is coming up soon. I've noticed a lot more entries are rolling in. And maybe that's because when we announced, Billy, that the top 50 entrants going forward, the top 50 get $100 gift back from the sponsors. If you put it 100 and that's all you have, then it's like, hopefully we have more than that. It's obviously some events in the future, but the incentive wasn't there, to get people to like sign up early so we can kind of start planning how much food to buy, how many chairs to bring, and tables to set up for the Bass U brunch. Because we can extrapolate, if you got 100 people, as we know now with Shoaliepalooza, you're going to have about half your field show up to a lot of these optional things, the Bass U brunch or the dinner, the opening ceremony dinner, stuff like that. So, but man, I'm excited to see a lot more entries coming in on that event. Obviously, when we get closer to the events, that's when most kayak anglers are going to enter. But as we creep towards 50, getting up in the 30, 40, I think we're at 20 something now. I think people are going to really start signing up quicker because they want to get that $100 sponsors prize back that we put together. But enough of that. Tim, tell us about the bite, man. That's what you want to hear about. What has the bite been like in Michigan and all these waters that are in bounds?
So it depends on where you go. Every lake's different around here right now. There's different stages.
Mm-hmm.
I found water temperature one day on Sunday, it's 59, 60 degrees. Went to another lake and degrees. So the fish are in different stages. I've got pre-spawn, I've got spawning, we've got post-spawn right now. So we got a little bit of everything. I caught some decent fish Sunday morning. I went out. Water was glass. There was no breeze, no nothing. Clear sky. Wasn't expecting a whole lot going on that day. And my first fish I think I pulled in was a 21-inch largemouth. And then maybe 45 minutes later, I pulled in a 21 1/4. And then I pulled in a 19. It was just one of those mornings.
Dude, that's amazing. Did you, so the bite's on. Do you mind? I have some pictures of some fish on the board that Steve Crook sent me. Do you mind if we post those?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll send them to my MacBook here and upload them and post them. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to say something pretty cool here. And Billy, you can chime in if you have any thoughts on this. What's unique about the Kayak Adventure Series, as you just said, Tim, we've got, 11 lakes in bounds, because you guys have a lot of smaller lakes, and they're great kayak fishing lakes. And have you noticed lately in the Elite Series or pro fishing, I've noticed this, some of these anglers are getting smart they know when their style is, right? So Justin Hamner, when he won the Classic, he really his style was, much more like early pre-spawn, that's jerk bait. He wanted to find fish. So he went towards the dam where the water was a lot cooler, and they were more set up in almost a winter pattern almost. You know what I'm saying? And the other fish were getting a little bit more scattered, doing different things, and they were still kind of locked down in a winter hole, which was smart. So what you just said made me just thinking about how the strategy for the Kayak Adventure Series is going to be so much different, because you could go find water temps so much different because you're in a completely different lake and different rivers, and flowing water obviously cools down, or warms up a lot slower than, calm water, and somewhere that's calm and shallow with lily pads and vegetation and stuff for the sunlight to heat that water up. You're going to find, 60 something degree water, 70 something degree water. And then somewhere else, it could be, like you're saying, 10 degrees less, which lets you decide what do you want to choose, like what style do you want to fish, which is crazy because someone could be topwater frogging in this event and somebody else could be, fishing 15 feet of water somewhere else, a lot colder water, trying to just, I don't know. It's crazy. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And you're going to have to do your homework. I mean, I could see where like the whole dock talk could really spin someone out. You hear that they're catching them on something, and you go, if depending on how experienced you are, because we have anglers that are at all ends, like Kayak Adventure Series, like you said before, it's not just like top level pros. You have people that are just getting into the sport, and you're really going to have to do your homework, and you're going to have to know the body of water that you chose. You're going to have to know where those fish are, how they're set up, and all that. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's like a bunch of, little tournaments within one tournament. There's so much strategy. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so. The Friday afternoon session will be interesting to see how they utilize all those other little lakes potentially, or what's the strategy going to be like? I mean, Tim, you tell me, man, do you have any, and obviously don't want to give away, anything obviously, but I felt like when I was there, I felt like this thing could have been won in the rivers or the lakes. I mean, do you feel it's a pretty even playing field? It's more about just finding the right spot and executing, because your area seems to have big ones in both.
Yeah, you can find big ones. You just got to know where they're at which, the time we're going to be there. You can find the smallies, you can find the largemouth. You can pick and choose what you want to fish. If I can find frogging weather, like a place that I can frog, I'll be doing that. I love that. I can't wait to start doing that.
Yeah, who doesn't love that, right? And so here's some fish. Were these the fish you were talking about by chance, or no?
Yeah, yeah, those were Sunday morning.
So
Wow.
this is just recently. So guys, oh my word! I mean, you can't see me because this fish is covering up, but my hand is over my eyes and my forehead. I'm just like down. Like, how many century belts am I gonna have to buy for this series? You know what I mean? Like, and give away. They're like $50 a pop. So, but anyway, I love seeing century belts get handed out. So I'm not upset about it. I'd rather give away many century belts. But anyway, you could get to 100. I mean, I think if for a day and a half fishing, it's possible to do here. It's possible to do at every one of our stops, and we saw 2 of them at Shoaliepalooza. So, I mean, what do you think, though, man? What do you think the realistic odds are? I feel like it's going to be close, but it's probably most likely not going to happen. But I think it very well could, as you can see there, because once you get a 21 or 21 and a quarter, that gives yourself a little wiggle room, to have a 19 and a quarter and 19 and a half, something like that. Plus, you got a day and a half. What do you think the odds are we hand out another one of those?
I think it's pretty good, especially if you can lock on to the smallmouth floating out around in the bigger lakes, because most of them are going to be, smallmouth will be all post spawn.
Yeah. Really? Wow. Still post spawn in those lakes. Like, I mean, already post spawn.
And
Yeah.
that,
Yep.
the century belt is the cross kicks century belt. And then Tim, were you wearing cross kicks in one of those photos? The shoes that you had on, they look like they might have been cross kicks.
No,
No,
no.
They look like cross kicks.
Right.
I
was going to give a shout out. And then the weather must be. You didn't even have shoes in the other picture. You're up in Michigan with on.
Yeah, it's like it's around 70 today. We got a tournament tonight, one of the top water tournaments tonight that I'm running. Fishing another one of those lakes that I've only fished once, so it'll be interesting. It's one of those lakes where it's crystal clear. You can see 20 feet down. So it's clear sky, so it's probably gonna be probably a tough night.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. We'll follow along. We need to go follow along with that and see what you guys can get a read on, some of the fish that are being caught. Do you have a feeling if it's going to be, dominated more with largemouth or smallmouth, or is it just very dependent on if you can find those bigger schools on the lakes like you're talking about?
Yeah, it just depends on what you choose to chase. Because there's monster smallies. I mean, there's 20, 21 inch smallies in a lot of lakes up here. But also there's those big largemouth. I've seen a couple hit that 22 mark for largemouth. So there's big in both.
Yeah. Do the rivers, the actual true rivers, ever get many largemouth up there? Or is it more? Do you get a little bit more smallmouthy when you go in the rivers?
Some of the rivers, the bigger rivers, have a lot of backwater.
And
you'll find a lot of largemouth in there. You'll get a few largemouth off the main channel, but most of the time those will be the smaller ones and stuff.
Gotcha.
Bigger ones are usually tucked away a little bit.
Man, that's gonna be exciting to see what happens. I can't wait to see the balance between the largemouth and the smallmouth in this event, and how close, if someone actually hits 100 or not. So I'm really excited about that.
They have in Ohio, we have the the Fish Ohio program where if the fish is so big, 18 inch is for a smallmouth, 20 inch is a largemouth. Does Michigan have something similar to that? And then what would the size be?
I'm trying to think. I think the size for smallmouth is around 20, and I'm not sure. I think they moved the largemouth, but I'm not sure what it is right now.
Yeah, but that'd be pretty telling if, Ohio, they're, 18 inch. It's like, wow, great job. That's a Fish Ohio. And then you go up to Michigan and you got to get a 20. That just tells you how many bigger smallmouth there are in the state.
Yeah,
absolutely. Another thing I was going to say was, I can say that we are going to raffle off a new canoe at this event for raising money for pediatric cancer. And it looks like we raised a little over $400 at the first event. But I feel like we could do a better job of getting that raffle kayak more like front and center, maybe at the opening ceremonies, because we didn't have it out at the opening ceremonies. So maybe we should start selling raffle tickets as early as the opening ceremonies. And then again, mention it and have them sold at the Bass U brunch, which will be at Water Dog Outfitters. for this event. So the new canoe will be right there to show off. So and then at the festival on Saturday before the awards, we'll do it again. There's no reason why we shouldn't be raising over $1,000 every event for the raffle for pediatric cancer. So looks like we're just a little over $400 at this first one. So that was what my wife had sent me the number on the announcement. So Steve Crooks he sent me a text. I think he might be let's see. I think we're good, Steve. You don't have to jump on, but he did want me to mention a couple things. He did tell me, and you kind of alluded to this, Tim. You guys are a little early for most of the stuff that goes on with the fishing. He said that the fish are on beds. So by the time KAS gets here, it'll be post spawn the feed up, and so it seems like everything is about 3 to 4 weeks early right now, and that's basically said due to the lack of ice and a very mild winter. So that makes sense. Lack of snow and ice and a mild winter. You guys are ahead of the schedule, which is exciting for what Tim loves to do, frogging.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
could be a player. Now we actually scheduled it on this weekend for very specifically because last year I was there in what was it, mid-May? I was there or like late May. I think it was it was like the last weekend of May, maybe.
I think it
was the last weekend of May. So we knew what the weather was at that exact time because I was there the year prior doing a kayak demo, hanging out with you guys at Water Dog, and a big kind of cold front came. It was cold that day for kayak demo. I mean, it was cold. So I talked to the chamber there, and we decided normally it's not going to be that cold the very last day of May. That was kind of odd, but we didn't even want to chance it because I saw the vegetation was starting to almost get to the surface and top out, and I said, "Ooh, if we can push this back 1 week, even 1 week further, you know what I mean, to June 6th and 7th date, then or 7th and 8th. Sorry, I get it confused. I keep saying 6th and 7th because September is 6th and 7th for that Wisconsin River Fest. Then I thought, man, that would be just perfect. And I think we're going to hit it just right. You guys are going early this year, so I doubt the end of May is going to be as cold as it was last year. But then certainly by that first week there in June, it's going to be just like prime time just to be there and do anything you want to do to catch them. So I'm pretty excited about that. Any thoughts on that before I read Steve's next thing here? He's saying he has a promotion to share. He's giving away a 16x16 black pack filled with Berkeley baits. He wants it to be about $1,000 worth of gear and tackle. He's giving that away to one lucky winner who purchases either Yak Attack items or Water Dog apparel during the tournament. Yak Attack gets you 1 ticket. Water Dog apparel will get you 5 tickets. Oh man, that's awesome. So breaking news live, we got a huge giveaway. It's worth $1,000. So the raffle tickets. So is that, Steve? I don't know if you can tell. Is that raffle going to? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, it's just you basically buy the items, and then that's gonna get you the raffle tickets. So I didn't know if any of that was for the charity or not, but we'll get it worked out with Steve. Some of it might be. I'm not sure. But another prize, another thing to win at Wild Whitehall, and it's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait. Can't wait. Yeah. We got a cool event for sure. So,
and who doesn't want to buy some local gear? I mean, Yak Attack, that'd be cool. And you might forget something. You might need to do an upgrade, last minute upgrade or something. But to buy a local T-shirt from a local shop, like that's a no brainer.
No brainer, dude. No brainer.
Yeah, throw an extra $30, $40, $50, whatever. Get yourself a new hoodie or something, and yeah, that'll be cool.
I started buying stuff when I go on my trips. Like for my son or I'll buy like him a little gift or a little present because I'm gone, for sometimes as long as a week on these fishing trips. But one of the coolest ones I got was the local stuff. I got like a Smith, Lewis Smith Lake. It says Smith Lake on it from Alabama. And I won at that tournament for Bassmaster. So it's a cool memory I have of going to that location and kind of put them up. So yeah, love the local stuff and always love supporting Water Dog. They're doing so much for us at the event. So, just to really kind of not like preview it a little bit here, guys. Here's the lay of the land. You kind of learn with Shoaliepalooza how it works, right? So opening ceremonies, I'll just recap it. You guys can see this on the website, but opening ceremonies, Montague Band Show right there. It is awesome. It's going to we're going to have some music, some games. I got that Revel Round game that we showed off on stage at Shoaliepalooza that you guys can get to play now because it arrived, unfortunately, on Friday. It got mailed there. But that's a really fun game, kind of like cornhole, but you can use your feet. Like they're hacky sacks, and you can use your feet. So when they go off the table, the board, right? If you miss the hole, the 3 points, same scoring as cornhole, you can kick it back on. And we played it over Mother's Day with my family. It is so much fun, dude. I love that game. It's so much fun. We'll have all those games out, opening ceremonies over there, and have a lot of fun hanging out. And maybe we might tweak the times for that. Billy, what do you think, man? And Tim, you can chime in. You weren't at Shoaliepalooza, but is 4 to 7, is it too long? 3 hours, the check-in and the hangout, is that too long? Or are most people just going to show up at 5 when you say 4 to 7 just because, they'd only want to be there for a couple hours? Or is that like just right? Or should it be like 5 to 7? And then after 7, we'll go grab dinner somewhere in town together like we did at Shoaliepalooza. We went to a restaurant and 50 of us went. So we'll go find a restaurant in town that can, host us all pretty much.
I think we had to be off the water by 4, right? And then it was 4 to 7.
I think 5.
Oh,
5 technically. Yeah, it changed to 5 on that one.
Okay.
But
I think that might have been some of it. There were people, coming from, their spot they were fishing in. So, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I think 2 hours was good. Yeah.
Look at the comments. All right, someone in the comments that was there, Dustin, Mark, Bradford, there's people that were there. So if you guys thought 4 to 7 was too long, we could always do, 5 to 7, and then we go eat somewhere, you know what I mean? Or whatever. So just let us know. We can always tweak little things like that. But opening ceremonies, Montague Band Show, it's going to be awesome. Next day, Bash U Brunch, 10 o'clock. Show up at Water Dog Outfitters. We flipping some pancakes, sausage egg, or maybe we'll get some breakfast sandwiches brought in. We'll just have to see what we eat. But Dustin says he likes 5 to 7, so that's 1 out of 1 there. And then also, obviously, when you're there, you could pick out, maybe find a Yak Attack item and earn some, or Water Dog item, earn some points for that raffle giveaway, that Yak Attack and $1,000 of Berkeley stuff in that black pack. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then also, the next thing we go to after Bash U Brunch is just your afternoon session. So that'll start at 3 to 7. I don't think we can tweak that time. And Sam likes 4 to 7. So, he likes 4. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But, yeah, that'll be fun. The afternoon session and that's where your Topwater Series, joint event could play. And then that's, going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. And I don't really think we can ever go. We talked about this last week. I don't think even in the summer when it gets dark at 9:30 or something, we can't really stop. I think you still have to get them off the water at 7. I just think you have to, because it's just going to be so late if you let them fish till 8:30 and they're an hour away and they're 30 minutes away from even getting to the ramp at lines out time. I mean, it's just because in the summer we may have to start it, which is an announcement I'm going to make. We may have to adjust our start time. I'm going to talk to Amanda Brandon and get it, put it on the website ASAP if we're going to adjust it. We might want to adjust it because 6:30, the further north you go, and obviously we're a month later than Shoaliepalooza, it's going to be very light at 6:30. I mean, Tim, you can tell me right now, it's probably pretty light at 6:30 now, and we're still weeks away.
Yeah. I mean, sunset's pretty late right now. So, I mean, our weeknight tournaments are 6 to 9 o'clock. Sunset's been, I think, I haven't looked recently, but it was around 8:45.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
So give it afternoon bite, but the next morning it gets light early though. I mean, at 6:30 it'll be, that's our lines in time currently, but you might just be sitting there. I know how it is if you're a tournament angler, and I hate getting up and driving in the dark and all that, but I also hate when I'm like at the ramp. I mean, like I'm driving and I already see it's light. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should be casting right now, or I should be allowed to cast right now, because this is like perfect time to catch a big one. So in the morning, again, I don't want you guys to get to bed too late. So in the morning, I'm thinking we'll probably move it up, maybe 5:30 launch and 6 a.m. first cast, because it's probably light enough to cast at 6 a.m. But we'll adjust that very soon, and of course announce it to everyone to make sure everyone knows and understands on our Wednesday live. Tim may have froze there on my screen. Did he freeze for you? There he is. He's back.
There you go. Yes, 6:15 right now is like sunrise, and 9 o'clock is sunset right now.
6:15 is sunrise. So that means what? 5:45 is first light, basically.
Yeah.
So I think 6 o'clock would be about perfect. You know what I mean? Because then, so yeah. Lines in at 6. Steve agrees. Lines in at 6. It'd be great. Dustin thinks the same thing. Get on the water early. It's just so I want to make sure you guys get off the water at a good enough time. You know, some people had a hard time getting to bed early. So I'll tell you what here's a little strategy tip right now. Before you get on the water on Friday, I mean, you better have everything dialed and ready for Saturday back at the house. Like if you have anything you need to have ready, if you're fishing a different style or different rods or whatever, if you have all that ready, have it ready. And hopefully the last thing you got to do is just get back to the Airbnb, charge some batteries, hopefully send us a 30-second clip of you catching a big one on Friday. So we have it early enough to get it on the big screen, you know, at the Playhouse at White Lake there for Saturday as awards. So don't forget that if you have time on Friday. But and then just get to bed. Just eat dinner. Obviously got to eat, clean up, get showered, get to bed, and hopefully you're in bed before 10 o'clock because you're getting off the water at 7. So I think that's doable. 9:30, 10, you can still get to bed and get up early enough to get on the water, at 5:30. So it means getting into your ramp probably 5, waking up at 4, depending on your drive. So let's see what's up. Ryan, Mr. RJM, Fishtails. So the next thing is, so after the Saturday fishing, which will adjust the end time, which is another little topic of discussion. I mean, our festival really, would you guys want to fish like a little bit longer? Even if you start earlier, I'm open to doing this. It's something to discuss with Amanda. Like if you start at 6, then instead of ending at, 3, instead of ending at 2:30 or 2, I kind of feel like you could still fish till 3. Potentially,
yeah,
right?
I've always been a fan of leaving the lines out time the same, even if you move the lines in back 30 minutes, leave the other one alone. And it can cause confusion as well. We don't want people.
I like that, Billy.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Just consistent on the lines out time. So there's no confusion. Plus, you're just getting a longer day when you're starting earlier in the summer. It gets crazy, dude. I remember our lines in time for Bassmaster or Hobie, whatever it was, for Lake Champlain. I had a long drive one day. I had to drive, I don't know, hour something. I got up at like 3 in the morning, and I'm driving. It's daylight. It's light. Way that far north. I'm looking. I'm like, how is it light? It's 3:30 in the morning. It's insane. So we're going further north from Michigan, obviously, and it's going to be wild to see what our start time is for Wisconsin later in the year too, because it's September. I guess it's starting to get, back the other way once you get to September. But
yeah, it'll be Wisconsin. There's no lines out. It's just Friday you launch, and then you just fish until 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, just keep going. It's daylight. When we go up to Canada one day, far up there, we'll try one of those. All right. Well, then of course we go to the theater. Back up. You come back to the festival, the Covell Park, and you're gonna have kayak demos there. We got a bunch of different kayaks from Water Dog. You can test out again. You can enter the raffle, food, music, games, just fun. Don't think it's going to be Shoaliepalooza again. I'm telling you that right now. The city of Thomaston, Georgia, literally just brought in tons. We brought in a lot of vendors too, but a ton of vendors, and we got fortunate. A lot of our sponsors were a little closer, geographically to that area. So they were like, yeah, let's have a booth there. I can't remember how many we're going to have at, Whitehall, but either way, you're going to have a lot of their products through Water Dog that'll be there. So their shop is right next to Covell Park pretty much. So it's really cool, having them there and just see what kind of, shenanigans we can get into at that festival after we're just kind of recovering. You guys are recovering from tournament day. And then around 5:30, we'll tell everyone, wrap it up. Let's walk or ride. So it's a short walk, probably, 6, 7, 8 minutes to the theater from the Playhouse at White Lake from the park. It's not very far, but we walk over there, and then 6 o'clock we start the awards. And Billy and I are super excited, Jake too, to finally just get, now that we've done one and we know the bugs, like you just can't test this until you actually just do it. So all the quirks and the bugs that we have to figure out, we're excited to streamline, fix all that, make it smoother. And I apologize to you guys who are watching it live. We're going to try to go live again on this platform, but it's not for you. It's for the theater and the people that are there, like first and foremost. So if there's some technical thing that makes it not as viewer friendly on your end, hey, tough luck, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And
more for them.
I really think, and we've talked about this a little bit offline. I think it might be just a better option to just stream it live, like have a wide angle of the live event, and they're just like a bird's eye view. And if you wish you could see the screen better, hear better, well, come to the event next time.
Yeah, come to the event.
I mean, so
show up.
Yeah, but we'll definitely stream it again. It's going to be, What's James
Mr.
saying?
Crescent himself is saying Georgian Bay. So he's talking about our little discussion, how you could just fish through the night. You know, you go that far north into Canada, you could just stay awake all night long, and just keep fishing and get that nice low light all throughout the night. And then just fish all night long. So Dustin's asking if he's making the trip. I don't know. I don't know if James will be making that one up there, but it was really cool to have him at Shoaliepalooza right there in their backyard. But Canada, the Georgian Bay is his backyard too. You know, he's from Canada. Family is originally, I believe, so that they've got a place up there, and it's pretty cool. A lot of the Crescent Kayaks like marketing stuff is from, their area near their cabin up there around Georgian Bay. So that's pretty cool. So if you see those pictures and videos, which Tim knows all about the Shoalie, you won the Michigan State Championship out of a Crescent Shoalie.
Yeah,
so
I was
fishing
fishing
that.
Cool. Yep, for the 2-day tournament.
Cool. Yeah, man, you got lots of different kayaks, man. You're smart in that that there's certain kayaks are made for certain things. So you just like literally have a lake kayak, river one. I like the way you do that. More people, I've always said that for years. Serious kayak anglers that are tournament kayak anglers or just even fun fishing that like to fish, multiple styles of water are going to always end up with two kayaks. Like two can pretty much handle it all. Really, you could even get a third. You could throw a third in there, but don't want to get into the weeds on that. But two can pretty much do it all for sure. Anything else? Yeah, inflatable. You can throw that in and go even, crazier places. Someone's going to fly to a KAS event this year with an inflatable, and they're going to check it, and then they're going to inflate it, and then win the tournament out of an inflatable using Sky Miles. So that's going to happen. Maybe not this year, but at some point it'll happen. Tim, anything else you can let's get back to the fishing there, because we've talked about how the event's the layout of the event, which we didn't mention the after party, but you guys know there's after parties happening as well at all these events. So we have a designated after party. North Grove Brewers is where we're going to go. I know there was a fire there, so I don't know if it's all been rebuilt, but if not, we'll go somewhere else. But that's a fun place. So Tim, we got to get something else out of you, man. You're here fishing wise, nuggets. What do you want to share with us about the waters of, maybe some tips or tactics, some baits that might be in play other than the frog? Like, could there still be any fish even on beds that in these clear water lakes that could be a player? Because we've noticed on the Elite Series, I mean, they still were catching fish on beds on Lake Murray. Look how far south Lake Murray is compared to Michigan. I mean, come on. You can't tell me all the fish in Michigan are spawned out by this time of this event. I'm not buying it. So could that be a player?
It's gonna just depend on the weather the next few weeks. Like I said, the lake I was on, I had like some sunfish up on beds, but I see no bass beds, and none of the bass I caught had any kind of wear in the tails at all. So I'm kind of thinking
they already spawned.
I don't think they did.
Oh, so you think they've not spawned yet?
Oh,
yeah, the water temperature was still cold. So it just, the sunfish were up really shallow. I mean, they were up in like 6 inches of water, making beds up there. But the water was only 60 degrees.
So
the bigger fish the bigger fish that I caught were still in that 5 foot, 8 foot of water, just off the weed edge. So I mean, they're ready. So I know that lake that I was just on is going to start. I'll help you guys narrow down this lake behind me. It's inbounds. Don't waste your time. It's called Twin Lake.
What's it called?
Twin Lake.
Twin Lake. All right. Don't waste your time. There's one. That's one tip, because you will have to narrow down, with pre-tournament research, because we have 4 days of pre-fishing allowed within the 2 week window. So our tournament starts on Friday. So 2 Fridays prior, you have those 2 weeks, you have 4 days you can fish. You get to choose which 4. So if you live close enough and you want to go there for the weekend and not burn vacation time, awesome. Go do it on the weekend before, or 2 weekends before. But you can't fish in 4 days. You could never fish all these lakes. So that tells me this is part of, it's no different than any bass boat Bassmaster Elite Series on Harris Chain or the Kissimmee Chain or the Mississippi River with different pools. You just can't fish. You can't fish all of Lake Guntersville in one, a few days of pre-fishing. So you have to learn. That's a skill of tournament fishing, learning what your style is and where on that lake you can find that style without even being there in person. You can narrow it down with research, Google Maps, satellite, and just, YouTubing, any other research. That's what you guys have to get good at. It's easy if I'm a river guy. So for me, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to eliminate the lakes because I like to fish rivers. That would be an easy, like, okay, I've crossed off that water. And now which rivers? Because there's a lot of rivers and creeks. And then I can start diving in more and then hopefully narrow it down enough where I got 2, 3, 4 days to practice and I can figure something out. So definitely interesting twist in the KAS. Billy, anything else you want to prod Tim on, or I think he's given us some good intel. I mean,
I've been here 17 years, and I will say I haven't fished half of the lakes yet.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's interesting because you guys have tournaments. I'm pretty sure either Topwater or Michigan Kayak Trail on most of those bodies of water have been in some boundary for tournaments. Most of them, but I would say there's probably some that haven't been, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Several. So
yeah,
if you're concerned about locals having some big advantage, the cool thing about the KAS is it's a 5 fish limit over the 2 days. That will always help out people who are coming from further away. The more fish you put on the limit, like if it was 10 fish, right? The more it helps the locals who know it, and the more it helps the, your Russ Snyders and the obviously the hammers that are the national hammers. But keeping it 5 keeps everybody in the game. Obviously, having that micro bag division also keeps you in the game because you got something else to go for. I mean, John Dalton won over $200 winning that division, so it's not nothing, and it keeps you in the game. But it's going to be interesting to see how that sort of plays out because having that many lakes, you guys have never fished them all, like you just said, and you're a state champion. But then also, even when those lakes have been in bounds and those rivers have been in bounds for a particular tournament that you guys held, you've never had a tournament that had all of them like this. So the question is going to be for the locals, where you got lots of places you probably caught them before, like where do you go? You're kind of torn because you don't know if a lake you've never fished before could be the better option, or a river you've never fished before, or, that's just going to be interesting to see how that helps like level the playing field out a little bit more for people traveling from further away. And AOI points are on the line. If you're smart and you guys have been paying attention to that AOI package that's getting close to $10,000 and the team of the year package, which we're still growing, that it's like 5,000 right now, but it hopefully grow more as well. And the winner of the, I don't know if we have it up there on the, a picture of it or not, that Ubco bike. I think we showed it off before. I don't know if we have a picture of it, Billy, but that e-bike alone is worth $5,000. That's going to the Angler of the Year. So if you're smart, guys, you got to fish 2 events of the 5 regular season. You're down 1. Shoaliepalooza already happened. So it's time to get in. If you're in that AOI race, it's time to get in and get out to one now because you could potentially give yourself a mulligan. So a lot of people are going to fish 2 or 3. Some people might get to 4, but I think most people are just going to fish 2 or 3 of those first 5. And then your brood stock score gets added to that, your first, your 2, your best 2 of the 5. So these smart guys, the people who are going to win AOI, are thinking this through right now. Like, I need to get to Michigan. I need to get to Ozarkana. I need to get over to the Susky. If, that's not going to be a hard, draw there, right? And the Wisconsin River Fest. So think about which, 2 or 3 or 4 you're going to get to now to make a run for that, because it's going to be worth your time. That package is huge. So anyway, so we'll see. If you do good at Michigan, then start planning. If you guys who end up doing good at Michigan, start planning now on which the other ones you're going to make, because you're not too far away from, the Susky or Wisconsin. Even Poplar Bluff's not that far away. It's southeast Missouri, so be thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see who signs up. I know when we were down in Shoaliepalooza, there was a lot of Georgia. Well, I mean, we still had our Ohio people and all that. So for this one, the Wild Whitehall, it is a lot of Ohio and Michigan so far. So I want to see more of those, other anglers, Pennsylvania and
Yeah.
People from the South, Tennessee, Alabama. Come on. Sign
The
up, guys.
winner of AOI, the smartest thing you should be doing right now is if you live in Kentucky around Bowling Green, you have obviously you're going to have an advantage there because that's your home water. But we don't give like 1.5 or double points for the brood stock. We shouldn't. It should all count equally for AOI the same way it does the Bassmaster Elite Series. It's just all these events together. We shouldn't give an extra advantage to somebody because they happen to live near the our finale location, right? So there's not bonus points for that one, but they already do have an advantage, because that's one that everyone has to a score that everyone has to have on their 3, right? It's got to be that brood stock and then any of the other, 5. So if you're smart and you live anywhere around Kentucky that know that water well, can get there. If you're in Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, whatever, like you're strategizing now about this and thinking about it, especially if you just live near any one of these events like Tim, Michigan, you're going to hopefully do well at your home event, do pretty good. And then start strategizing now. It's going to be worth your time for sure. So,
yeah. And then not only the AOI and that strategy, but the hardware. So, and that's something I know I didn't think about it when I went into it, but obviously individual got first, top 3, and then micro bag top 3, team top 3, but each team member gets a trophy. Yeah. I mean,
hardware,
there's so much hardware to win depending on which path you take. It's a lot of fun.
So much. Hey, before we let Tim go and wrap this up, Tim, I know it gets cold. I'm in Ohio. Billy's in Ohio. I'm from the South originally, but live in Ohio now. You're up in Michigan. It's a long winter sometimes, right? Let's face it.
Yeah.
So how excited are you potentially about this right here? Ocala.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to work that one in.
Working in. Well, President's Day is that Monday, so just 4 days off work you got to take. I know that's still 4 days off of work, but it's better than 5. But and you're obviously taking off most people a day or 2 to fish these events anyway. So if you think about it, it's just 1 or 2 extra days. You could be down there for the whole week in Florida. And when we announced that, I mean, I've been really excited to see all the comments about how many people are just excited about that event. And already, like, can't wait to get down there and all that, get out of winter and catch some huge Florida bass down there. That's obviously they get pretty darn big. You can see some hitting that, getting flopping off a catch board over 26. So, and someone will catch one. I'm pretty sure that event, 24, 25, someone's going to get one like that. Wow. So hopefully we'll get a lot of folks from up north that are excited to get down south, and then, for the winter, need a break. And then I think the people in Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee, it's not a far drive for them. Obviously, people in Florida, so they're probably going to come too. So I think we can definitely hit 200, 300 people at that event. Like, why not? Let's just make it a big party. So, all right, man. Any last things before we wrap this one up? Any comments over there happening? I haven't looked at the comments in a little bit, but Dustin can't wait for Florida. Of course, he's excited. He's got a place down there, so that'll be fun.
Looks like Tim dropped off.
Tim dropped. I guess he dropped off
the
stream.
Yep. Appreciate you joining, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
He did give up some.
He did. He did. I thought it was interesting that, because I kind of spaced out, was looking somewhere else or reading something when he was telling me about the water temps earlier. It's 60 degrees, dude. It's how many weeks away? Oh, he's back now. We can give a proper departure. It's 60 degrees, man. The fish are definitely going to be spawning then. Like, definitely. I know Steve's talking about, a lot of them are going to be post-spawn chewing, and they will, but there's no doubt that you're going to be fish spawning. And, I mean, we're just catch and release them right on their bed. And that's, like, obviously a very sustainable way to, if you're going to catch spawning fish. But they're going to be spawning, and, I mean, I guess we'll just have to see if that is a play or not for this event. I think it could be.
Yeah, Dustin, he's going to have to tell me where I'm fishing. He knows where I'm fishing before I do.
Well, how do we even know? You guys don't even know what waters are in bounds yet. I mean, some of them. We don't know all of them. So we're actually going through. Some people have made notes that we should put in the Ocala National Forest. There's a big national forest there with lots of these remote lakes and ponds. That could kind of be cool. It's a little AEP lands, for Ohio guys that know that area. It's a little bit of that, just driving down dirt roads. You might get to a lake or a pond. That could be cool. I mean, that could be cool if we include those, but yet again, you also got the bigger lakes and bounds that have that have bigger forage bases, big shad, you know, the things that are migratory that get in there, even some ocean run mullet, things like that in Rodman Reservoir, not up the Ocklawaha that bass feed on. So it's going to be interesting. Can just a bluegill eater, you know what I mean? Like that lives in these smaller national forest lakes and ponds. Could that be the way to go? Or just going to the bigger lakes, you know, bigger ocean, bigger fish? Could that be the way to go? Or the Withlacoochee River, the Ocklawaha River? There's giants in all of them, but it'll be interesting to see what we finally decide on putting in bounds. I think the biggest thing is going to be if we can clearly denote the boundary of where those national forest lakes are. And if we could just say it's just all this national forest from this road, whatever, so people don't accidentally go to a lake that's not, you know, or do we need to like list them all with a little star? Like these are all of our core bodies of water, just like we did in Michigan, but these are a lot smaller. Some of them are a lot smaller. They could be just a few acres even. But it is kind of in the spirit of kayak fishing and in, you know, moving to little spots. And that's the best tool for fishing these public bodies of water. So, I mean, dude, it might be cool fishing ponds, lakes, rivers, creeks. Like, let's see what happens down there in the Shoaliepalooza.
Absolutely.
So Rob's telling us the Grand River in Kent County was 65 this last weekend. So there you go. Another little update here as we wrap things up. But Tim, any last comments before we let you roll?
No, I just can't wait, man. I am ready.
How many people you think we're going to get? You think we're going to get more than Shoaliepalooza? We had 79 in the individual division for Shoaliepalooza. You guys sometimes get as many as 100 in your local events alone. I think we had around 100 people, 100 unique people in Shoaliepalooza when you count the team division and all the other, you know, the Peach State kayak anglers, the micro bag, the side pot Sunday tournament. I think we had closer to 100 maybe. But what do you think, man? Do you think we can? I think we can get over 100.
I think we can get over 100. I mean, we had one tournament a couple years ago, a White Lake tournament only. I think we had 103 or 104 people, and it sold out in hours. Like we filled up.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely. I don't think it'll be a problem hitting over 100.
Well, let's get 150 then. Let's do 150.
Yeah.
And if you guys need a place to stay, the Weather Vane Inn is giving you guys a discount for a room block, and it's right there. If you're bringing your family and you've got the income to afford it, I know it's still expensive. It's right on the water, guys. This is a nice hotel. It might be a couple $100 a night, I think, somewhere around there. But they're giving us a discount from the regular rate. They got a room block. And again, like I said, if you're bringing the kids, the family, and you got the income to be able to go there, I highly recommend it. They are obviously our official hotel partner. So jump on those, give them a call. Their link is on the website. Again, you couldn't be in a better spot. You can walk to everything from the Weather Vane Inn. Everything we're doing, you can walk to it. So shout out to those guys in that location. But all right, man.
All right.
Wrapping up, I guess.
Wrapping up.
Something quite extraordinary.
A preview event, like as we get closer, we're going to talk about this and more.
Adventure
And,
Series. Kayak Adventure Series. This is
everyone.
where
Thank
you
you, Tim.
choose your own adventure.
guys.
You want to be offshore, you want to be shallow, you want to go up the creek.
Have a good one.
Kayak
Hey, buddy.
that is sophisticated. Or a kayak that is simple. You can